is a great way to use your potatoes either as an appetizer or as a side dish. These are really great. I tried them at a restaurant recently and they were real crispy, so I wanted to share this with you. And here are the ingredients if you'd like to jot them down. They'll also be below the video if you'd like to print them out. So we're going to start with some fingerling potatoes, and we're going to generously salt our water. We want to bring this to a boil. Once that has reached a boiling temperature, you can go ahead and put your potatoes in here. Again, I'm using fingerling potatoes. This works great for this dish because there's a lot of skin on there, which really crisp up nicely. The temperature water will lower now that we have our potatoes in there. And while those are coming back up to a boil, I'd just like to briefly touch on how we boil our potatoes. Now, if you are fresh digging your potatoes right out of the ground, you know those potatoes are probably going to be around 70, 80 degrees, depending on wherever you live. And that makes a difference as to how we're going to cook them and prepare them in the kitchen. You know, potatoes, not just fingerling or new potatoes, they should be stored at temperatures anywhere from around 45 to 50 degrees. But in the modern day, we don't oftentimes have root cellars anymore, which is where, I guess about 100 years ago, most people would store things like their potatoes. Now, our refrigerator is too cold for your potatoes. If you store your potatoes in a refrigerator, it will convert those starches to sugars, and that doesn't make for a lot of good dishes, okay? So we don't want to store our potatoes in a refrigerator. Oftentimes, if I'm not digging them out of my garden, which I don't do often, I don't really grow storage potatoes, so I'll pick them up at the store, and I plan to use them within about 3 days of purchase. So they are usually at room temperature whenever I go to prepare them. So depending on how you store your potatoes is going to determine how you cook your potatoes, okay? If you're going to cook a potato that's 45 degrees Fahrenheit, you may want to boil your potatoes with cold water and bring them up to a boil, okay? But it all depends on how you're storing them. Think about how you roast potatoes. You don't put them in a cold oven when you roast them, right? You want to lock in that flavor. So a lot of times I'll just start with a potato that is around room temperature, and I'll drop it in boiling water, and that just seals in all that wonderful potato flavor, especially if you've just grown it. You don't want to overboil it and, lose all what you've worked so hard to grow. So back to the potatoes. So we want to cook these for probably about 8 to 10 minutes. You're going to have to test your potato to see, make sure it's giving a little bit of resistance there. We're just kind of parboiling these because we are also going to fry them, okay? So once they have reached the tenderness you're looking for, go ahead and remove them to a plate or a bowl where they can just kind of dry out a little bit. Now, I like to cook these the day before that I plan to fry them, so that I can put them in the refrigerator and they can kind of chill a little bit. I think it makes them a little bit more crispy, but you certainly can skip this step. You can just go straight into frying them after you have boiled them, okay? So let's go ahead and get our oil heating up. This is a high temperature cooking oil. It's safflower oil. And while that's heating up, I want to go ahead and prepare my potatoes. And all we're going to do here is we're just going to give them a little smash, and I'll do that with the very palm of my hand, and that flattens them out nicely. You want to make sure they're nice and flat, okay? Try to make sure the whole thing is flat. And the little pieces there, you're going to lose some of the potato, but those are really good once you fried those too. I don't eat a lot of fried food, but if I do, it better be crispy and salty and good. So there we go. So I've got them all ready to go. They're all nice and flat. And now I'm going to go ahead and begin to fry them. My heat is on about medium. And whenever I do fry something, I like to fry just a small amount first, just to try to get the oil at a good temperature. For some reason, the second batch always turns out nice, and I think it has something to do with the smoking temperature of oil. I think it affects it when you've already cooked something in it. So I'm just going to cook a little bit first and take a little taste and make sure they're doing pretty good there. So we'll go ahead, and now I'll fry a lot of them at one time. And I love these little pans, a non-stick pan for frying. I don't use my cast iron skillet much for frying anymore. I love it for meat, but if I'm going to fry something, I'll use this little non-stick skillet here. This is an aluminum skillet, and it's ceramic coated, and I replace my non-stick pans about once a year because I do tend to lose that little non-stick quality. And remember, I'm also shallow frying these. In other words, I don't have them completely covered with oil, so that's real important. Don't submerge them all the way into oil. You just want to have them kind of shallow fried, and let them drain on some paper towels. Give them a real good generous pinch of salt. And I'm just made a little yogurt, caper, dill dip here, so that's what I'm using. Now, if you want to serve these as a side item, go ahead and feel free to infuse your oil with some of your fresh herbs from your garden, like rosemary or thyme, a little smashed garlic, and some hot chili peppers, and just kind of let that simmer on low heat for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, and you'll have a really nice oil for frying these potatoes in. It'll give them just a little kiss of something special on the outside. So if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a big thumbs up. Let me know you liked it, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget off to the right, that little wheel there will make sure that you get all the notifications from my channel. So thanks so much for watching, and y'all have a beautiful day.